Mosca, Mosca, Mickey. Mosca, Mosca. Mosca, Mosca.
Yo, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another top 10 video. My name's Nick, and today we're going to be going over the top 10 most haunted places. Now, to start this list off, coming in at number 10 is the Winchester House. This mystery house has been certified by the U.S. Department of Commerce that it's haunted. It's still one of the spookier construction projects in history. After the death of her husband and child, Sarah Winchester consulted a seer who proclaimed her family had been killed by the ghosts of those who died of bullets from her family's guns. The seer suggested that only perpetual construction on the family's mansion could mollify these spirits. So that's what Sarah Winchester ordered. Workmen labored on the property every hour of every day for 38 years. The 160-room estate, built entirely without the aid of blueprints, is truly bizarre. Some of the creepier features are staircases to nowhere, doors that open onto brick walls or 10-foot drops, and a window with an etched glass spiderweb motif. Coming in at number 9 on the list is actually probably somewhere you wouldn't expect. The White House. America's most famous residence is also allegedly one of its most haunted. According to lore, some of its inhabitants felt such ties to the seat of the American power that they chose to linger long after their deaths. If you believe the whispers, the ghost of Abigail Adams does laundry in the East Room, while Dolly Madison's spirit likes to lure around the Rose Garden. And of course, the Lincoln bedroom may be the site of visits from Honest Abe. Coming in at number 8 on our list is the Whaley House. Even hardened government skeptics apparently couldn't refute the evidence that this home in San Diego's Old Town neighborhood harbors spirits. In the 1960s, the U.S. Commerce Department classified the Whaley House as haunted. The Travel Channel has also doubted it America's most supernatural home. Its earliest ghost was Yankee Jim Robinson, who was hanged on the site in 1852. When James Whaley built the house, which in the mid-19th century served as a granary, courthouse, and general store, in 1857 he claimed to hear Robinson padding loudly through the halls. Whaley and his wife are also said to inhabit the house, announcing their presence with cigar smoke and perfume. Visitors have also reported sightings of a startlingly lifelike young girl in a long dress lounging in the dining room. Coming in at number 7 on our list is going to be the Tower of London. Erected by William the Conqueror in the 11th century, this former politician prison and place of execution has long been viewed as one of the most haunted buildings in the British Isles. Among the ghosts flitting through the fortress are the spirits of Anne Boleyn, the wife of Henry VIII, who was beheaded in 1536. Lady Jane Grey, who was spotted by a guardsman on February 12, 1957 on the 403rd anniversary of her death. And Sir Walter Raleigh, the first ghost allegedly spotted in the building, was Thomas Becket's in the 13th century. Coming in at number 6 on our list is going to be the Queen Mary. A former luxury ocean liner and warship nicknamed the Grey Ghost, the Queen Mary was purchased by the city of Long Beach in 1967, transformed into a hotel, and became a popular tourist attraction. Among the ghosts reportedly still hanging around are a sailor who died in the ship's engine room, a lady in white, and children who drowned in the ship's pool. Coming in at number 5 on our list is the Myrtles of Plantation. This estate in St. Francisville, Louisiana, built in 1796 by General David Bradford, is considered one of America's most haunted places. Some say it has witnessed as many as 10 murders, though it allegedly hosts several ghosts. One of the most popular tales concerns a former slave named Chloe, who, as legend goes, had her ear chopped off by her master for eavesdropping. She allegedly sought revenge by poisoning a birthday cake, which killed 2 of the slave master's daughters. Their spirits are also said to haunt the plantation. According to the story, Chloe was hung by fellow slaves and lingers around the plantation, her severed ear concealed by a turban. Coming in at number 5 on our list is the Gettysburg Battlefield. The Battle of Gettysburg lasted for 3 days and was one of the bloodiest in American history. Some of 50,000 young men died in the conflict. With so many young men killed so violently, many believe the site is haunted by fallen soldiers unable to accept their untimely fate. These restless souls wander the Pennsylvania field, searching for their rifles and comrades, unaware that the battle is over. Coming in at number 3 on our list is the Edinburgh Castle. With some 900 years of history behind it, it would almost be a surprise if Edinburgh Castle wasn't one of Scotland's most haunted sites. Since its construction as a military fortress in the early 12th century, the castle has witnessed surprise attacks, executions, and even a brief capture by the English. Reincarnated as a tourist attraction, Edinburgh Castle now offers haunted tours of its dungeons, which once hosted the likes of Duke Alexander Stuart of Albany, who escaped, stabbing his guards to death and then burning their bodies. Lady Janet Douglas of Glamis, accused of witchcraft and burned at the stake, and an unnamed piper who once wandered down one of the castle's underground passages and never returned. In 2001, Edinburgh Castle became the site of one of the largest paranormal investigations in history. A team of 9 researchers and over 200 members of the public explored the castle's forgotten chambers and secret passage for signs of ghost happenings. The public was not told which areas of the castles were rumored to be haunted and which were not. 51% of participants in haunted areas reported paranormal experiences, while only 35% did so in the non-haunted areas. Shadowy figures, sudden drops in temperature, and the feeling of something tugging on your clothes are all everyday experiences in this castle. If the castle's paranormal activity isn't enough, Edinburgh also boasts the Mary King's Close, an underground area of the city in which victims of the Black Plague were quarantined and left to die. Coming in at number 2 on our list is the Eastern State Penitentiary. Built in 1829 with castle-like walls and imposing guard towers, Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia was the first prison to institute solitary confinement. Prisoners lived alone, ate alone, and even exercised alone in the individual yards. When an inmate left his cell, a guard covered his head with a hood so that he remained in confinement. Although the solitary system was quickly discarded due to overcrowding, Eastern State is widely believed to have caused mental illness among its prisoners. It operated as a regular prison from 1913 until it closed in 1970, during which time it housed both Al Capone and bank robber Willie Sutton. The prison was abandoned in 1971, and rumors of strange happenings have plagued the Stone Penitentiary ever since. Visitors to the prison, and there are many, for Eastern State is now a museum and Halloween haunted place. Report footsteps in the yard, the sound of someone pacing in the cells, eerie noises, and lonely walls that drift through the cold, dark corridors. Cell Block 12 is famous for its disembodied laughter, and one guard tower appears on some nights to be occupied by a shadowy figure keeping watch over the empty prison. Now, coming in at number 1 on our list, the most haunted house is going to be the Amityville house. The house on 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York, an upscale Long Island suburb, was the site of a brutal family murder in which 23-year-old Ronald DeFeo Jr. shot and killed his parents and 4 younger siblings on November 14, 1974. But much of the legend surrounding the home stems from the family who moved in a little over after the murders, George and Kathy Lutz. They had 4 children. Knowing about the tragic events that had taken place, they agreed to see the property, including a 4,000 square foot house, waterfront access, a boathouse, heated swimming pool, garage, and full basement. Eventually, they bought it. As soon as Kathy had walked into the house, she had a smile on her face that just beamed. That hadn't happened in all the previous homes we looked at. Later, describing the events at Amityville at a paranormal convention, I knew from the look on her face that this was to be our dream home, said his husband. Soon after moving in, though things changed dramatically, even after having the place blessed by a priest at the urging of a friend, George and Kathy said they began experiencing strange things, banging noises, footsteps, untraceable to any family member's movements, mysterious and pervasive doors, green jello-like substance leaking from the walls, toilet water turning back, swarms of houseflies and eyes peering in from outside the windows. Even the family's behavior began to change. George was often sick, went days without bathing, and lost weight, while Kathy had constant nightmares. The children began to fight with each other. After the disturbances worsened, the Lutzes decided to leave the house temporarily, but the night in which they were to depart turned out to be their last night there. Although George Lutz is reluctant to explain the full details of that night, he once said that the hardest thing for those people who experience a haunting is the loss of being able to communicate with anyone else about it. It's not talked about, it's not understood, and when it happens to you, you become an alien to everyone else. The Lutz's entire account was later dismissed as a fabrication by a paranormal investigator. The late Dr. Stephen Kaplan said George's stories of haunting were too wide-ranging and probably stemmed from a pre-existing obsession with the paranormal. Alright guys, so that's going to wrap up our top 10 list today. If you enjoyed the video, as always, thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And tune in tomorrow for the next top 10 video. Peace.
Miska, Muska, Mickey. Miska, Muska. Miska, Muska.